And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 107. Well, we have interrupted our normally scheduled broadcasting to bring you these, well, I guess it would be, we've interrupted our special broadcasting to bring you some normal broadcasting, which is domestic Aerostars when we were on sort of a foreign residency. We come back to our special broadcasting, which will for the time being be our normal broadcasting, to show you some more wonderful foreign Ford Aerostars here on a little worldwide residency. So that if that's not confusing enough for you, well, just get ready to be confused more. So here we have a 1991 Ford Aerostar extended wagon, listed in Karina, Finland, the great country of Finland. I have a good friend who lives in Finland. Unfortunately, she speaks Swedish, and shout out to her, not Finnish. So otherwise, I probably would have asked her to assist with this. A little known fact, a lot of people in Finland actually speak Swedish. So there you go. Listed in Karina, Finland for the price upon request, I suppose. But we'll do a little Aerostar sleuthing, and I think we will be able to find a price for this vehicle, as well as many other facts. And listed, so no price. These foreign ones always throw me for a loop because I can't just, rattle them off. So they're always a little bit jankier, but that's okay. It's sort of like, a special thing. This vehicle has 128,040 kilometers, and I didn't even have to do the math because this sort of aggregator site did it for me. 79,560 miles. About this vehicle, perustidot, and I apologize to all those Finnish-speaking Finlandiers out there. Varaston. Ja pirantanskransia. Ford Aerostar kaituntai verosikisi. Kaksi Ford Aerostaria. I know that one. Auto 1 VFI 633 1991 kunto valtatava katsastus I voimassa. I don't know how to pronounce J's. Ajonoivo postio tu. Okay. There's a lot of I never noticed. I'm learning about these languages. There's a lot of long words in Finnish. I never knew that. I thought, German, there's a lot of really long words where it's like 5 or 6 words all smashed together without any spaces. A lot of long words in Finnish. Tili kena kaikstotosta, and a lot of umlauts too, which in German they would call them an umlaut. I don't know if they call them an umlaut in Finland. Hintevap tutto 1,000 auto to, or I'm getting, I ajo konosa poistetu. This word again. Tilikene kaitosta. Tilikene kaitosta. Ostetu aikoinan varayoskiski. That word again. I recognize the words, I just can't say it. That's enough. Okay, anyways, the description actually, the full description is Ford Aerostar Extended Wagon 4.0 V6 OHV 4-wheel drive automatic, 175 horsepower, 19. So, obviously here in Finland, and we'll get to the pictures in a second, but we have a very special Aerostar. It's a 91, cool year, right just before the sort of it's when the 4-wheel drive had been introduced, the extended version had been introduced. Both those had not been introduced when the Aerostar debuted in '86, so it had kind of come into its own. The grille was literally in the middle of the 3 grille styles, with your updated grille but with your Ford logo in the middle. The interior had not yet been updated, but we did have the 4-wheel drive option, and we had the 4.0 engine, which of course came with the all-wheel drive 4-wheel drive version. So that's kind of cool. So an early version of the 4-wheel drive. The fact that it's 4-wheel drive, obviously very noteworthy. in the Aerostar landscape. And I will say, just as an aside, I know we're doing our foreign residency, but I saw an Aerostar in the wild last night. We went to the big city of Oneonta, which is as closest thing to a city as we have around here. Went to the movies, and I saw a beautiful white Aerostar in the wild. So maybe I'll throw a picture in there. So for what that's worth, I always just, it's like seeing like a celebrity or something. When you see an Aerostar in the wild, it's like boom. And I can imagine seeing one in the United States is special enough. Seeing one in Finland, I think you would just about jump out of your britches. But probably not this owner, because as we'll see, there's a lot going on here. So let's dig into the pictures. First, we have this. I can't really tell if this is black or gray or dark blue. It looks to be like a very, very faded black, or perhaps a gray. It may even be like a two-tone here, like a black over gray, which certainly looks fantastic. A little beat up, your headlight bezel's cracked. Obviously that very cool grille style with the Ford logo in the middle, even though it's your sort of three-fin, more modern grille style there. Some bumps and dings are on the bumper, but not terrible. I don't know if it's just the wheels on these, but the four-wheel drive versions, maybe it's just a placebo, but they always just seem to sit a little bit beefier, and you just know that 4 liters in there. Is that even a deer horn? There might be a deer horn there. I love deer horns. Looks like you do have a little bracket here for some sort of light bar, which may or may not have been in there at some point. But look closely here and you'll see something lurking in the background, which is, you guessed it, another Ford Aerostar. And that's what's so cool about this post, is obviously there's some person in Finland who, it might just be a junkyard and there's just tons of vehicles everywhere, but I can only imagine if you are just a regular junkyard and you have multiple Ford Aerostars, that you must have some sort of inclination to collect them, because there can't be that many Ford Aerostars just hanging around in Finland. Now let's go to the next picture. Okay, what do we see here? Aside from we can see this is clearly a black Aerostar, which again, very, very cool color. And I guess my shirt is wrong now because I thought it was navy blue upon closer inspection. But another Ford Aerostar. So this is a third Ford Aerostar. There's somebody in Finland they must have the entire Aerostar population of the country cornered, because we have 3 Aerostars all in somebody's lot. And it doesn't necessarily surprise me, because if you have an Aerostar, you've managed to track down an Aerostar in Finland, chances are you're going to be like one of these sort of like collectors, which is interesting that they're selling them. But a beautiful, I will say, the kind of the standard sort of truck style wheels on here, it looks like. But there's some just about, like Jay Leno says, just the way a vehicle sits. The way this truck sits, and I almost want to call it a truck because it sits more truck-like. It just sits like it's got a nice stance on it, a nice beefiness to it. And I gotta say, the black over gray two-tone, and it's more of it's not like a super shiny black. It's almost more, maybe it's just paint weathering, but it's almost more of like a matte black. Now this is also interesting. I don't ever remember this electronic four-wheel drive badge being on the back of the vehicle, but it's very possible. And this, what do you see? CD, does this say Custom Brothers here? I wonder if that's like their shop they work out of. It may be possible, and I hope the comment section tells me, because you people always have so much more information than I do. Looks like, by the way, non-factory backup or extra taillights here. Perhaps before 92 or 93, when they updated the interior, the Aerostar badges were in a different place, but I think that moved even earlier, because I think in like 91 or 90, when the grille style changed, I think the Aerostar logo moved back here from the quarter panels. I think that was very, very short-lived run. So I'm wondering if this electronic four-wheel drive badge was ever actually back here, or if someone just slapped it on back here, because I feel like you do see it in the maybe you don't see it in the front of this one. I guess you don't. So, and that leads me to believe that this was just moved. Not that I guess if it was there from the factory, it wouldn't be here anyways. But I feel like I've seen 91 Aerostars where the badge still is on this front quarter panel. And then we'll probably find out in a second, but I wanted to go back here, rifle through these. This one obviously does have that badge in the quarter panel location. And we have another two-tone here with the alloy wheels. But boy, this black over gray one, and then because you have these black inserts on the bumpers, my 93 Sport has these black inserts on the gray bumpers, but with the black colored Aerostar, just a really, man, what I wouldn't do for a black over gray 4-wheel drive extended Aerostar. That is quite the spec. Really, really cool. The tow hitch just has this gargantuan, even though when you see these in real life, you realize how small the Aerostar actually is in comparison to modern vehicles. I actually daily drove, more so just random Aerostar news. I daily drove, I call it daily drove, I drove it for a day, but it was my normal car last Friday at work. We were driving all around, picking up materials, going here, there, climbing hills, going down hills, because my sweetheart Subaru was in the shop, and so the Aerostar filled in very, very admirably. So it's been really nice. I've been driving the Aerostar and using it for work, and even when I park it next to my buddy's 2014 GMC Sierra single cab, like the truck like dwarfs the van. But then everybody can't help but remark like how much space there is in it, the place I was working, they had like a Ford Transit Connect, like the newest generation. Maybe it's a 2020 or something like that, but similarly sized. But it's just so cool to see the Aerostar, 30 years old at this point, 93 to 2023, still working, still on the job, still doing what it was meant to do so many years later. And I think that's really, really cool. So I digress. You start getting a little philosophical when you start doing these foreign ones, because you start thinking about the Aerostar in the macro sense, being a worldly vehicle and all that. Let's look at the interior. Okay, we have a very cool, I think the red piping on the seats with the gray two-tone seats with the red piping in the middle. I feel like that fits the black over gray perfectly. Black, red, and gray is actually a very difficult color scheme to pull off, I feel like, because it can be a little garish perhaps, but if done correctly is really, really beautiful and sort of connotes like a seriousness and a purpose and almost a meanness. And I think this Aerostar does that very, very well. I love the gray interior, and I love the red piping on the seats. Just adds that little bit of extra flair to the whole thing. Now it looks like we have one bench seat and one captain's chair, and that's it, which is very, very weird. I don't know where the other captain's chair is, and I don't even see a space for it to really slot it on the floor, but I'm sure it's there just out of view of the camera. So unfortunately, I wish we had some more pictures. There is certainly a mystery going on here with this 3 Aerostars. Luckily, I have done a little bit of Google translating, so we'll try to read the description and see what it says. Like, what is going on here with this big, like, there's all these, like, tarped over garages. Like, it looks like somewhere I would live in Finland. If I was a Finnish person, this would be my life. I would have 3 Aerostars, although I probably wouldn't be selling them, so that's the only thing that's different. Okay. Warehouse and yard clearing, Ford for enthusiasts. Well, I would think so. For use or for spare parts. 2 Ford Aerostars, Auto 1, what's the license plate, 1991, in poor condition, inspection not valid, vehicle removed from road traffic. They say that twice. Maybe that's what that long word was, which is a weird thing to say, vehicle removed from road traffic. Was it like physically removed because it was an accident on the side of the road or broke down? Or does that just mean it's like off the road? As in not registered or something. Asking price, 1,000. Now, I'm assuming Finland's using the euro, so we can deduce the price. Car 2, RFM 341, year 1991. So they're both 91s. So that would indicate that the badge should be in the quarter panel location on both vehicles. Not in driving condition. Removed from road traffic. Such a funny way to say it, removed from road traffic. Sounds like it's like been like a little child that's been given a timeout in the corner. Once bought for spare parts, asking price 500. Only sold as a whole. For a genuine buyer, the total price is $1,200. Reasonable offers are also listened to. So they're trying to get 1,000 for one, 500 for the other. They'll take 1,200 for both. Maybe they'd take 1,000 for both. I don't know at this point. But if you're in Finland or even in Western Europe generally or Scandinavia generally, and you want to get some Project Aerostars, this would not be a bad place to start. You get 2 for 1. They're both 4-wheel drive. You think with the 2 of them, you could probably create one out of that. Now the question is, I like how they say for enthusiasts. They don't say for enthusiasts only, but that's kind of what they're implying. I'm guessing this green one back here, maybe they already got some parts off of this tan one here. And then maybe they bought this thinking they would fix up a second one. or it was just too good of an offer to pass up. You know, I've bought an Aerostar before just because I had, you know, it was like I bought my second 86 Aerostar I bought for $500 because it was 40 minutes away, and I said, well, I just have to buy it. You know, I don't have a choice. So maybe that's what happened here. And now they're, you know, maybe liquidating. Maybe they got this green one all sorted out. It's undercover here. Looks like the paint's a little bit nicer. Great color. So maybe they got that one sort of sorted out, and they're going to, you know, get rid of a couple parts cars in their compound here, as they say, warehouse and yard cleaning. Winter's coming, and they're looking to move on from these 91 Aerostars. So, boy, a good chance to pick up a couple of Project Aerostars, and maybe you could, you know, make 2 out of 1. I doubt it's very economical to ship these back to America, although the way four-wheel drive Aerostars are climbing in price and the premium you pay for them, you know, you never know. If you had like a really good deal on shipping or something like that. Probably not, but, you know, a man can dream, as they say. But boy, that black over gray with the four-wheel drive and these kind of nice, just basic, I don't even know if they're steel, maybe they're galvanized or aluminum or something, but these, you know, very simple truck-like wheels with the big center caps on them. Just a real looker, and the tan interior with the red piping, like very, very cool, very nice aesthetic, and very unique story. You know, I would love to meet whoever this person is in Finland, and, you know, sort of interview them and talk to them and say, how did Ford Aerostars come into your life? Why of all vehicles the Ford Aerostar, you know, to you, of a foreign American car? Now, I think in Finland and Scandinavia generally, there is sort of a predilection to, or, you know, appreciation of classic Americana. Now, I know most people wouldn't consider this classic Americana. It'd be more like 50s and 60s and Chevy Bel Airs, and even going back to 20s and 30s Model Ts and stuff like that. But, you know, you got to figure this is, you know, going on past 30 years, getting close to 40 years old for the first Aerostars. So it really, you know, if 50 years is an antique, we're approaching that territory. And so this is becoming kind of classic Americana. The fact that it's a van, so it's big, but by today's standards is actually a relatively small vehicle. It's, again, not that hard to maintain. It's got a really cool look to it, especially if you're not used to seeing these in your home country, and it's not super expensive. It's got the four-wheel drive, so it's got the capability to be good in rural areas. You can still use it as a workhorse vehicle. It doesn't have to be a complete novelty or just like a thing that you just show and don't actually use and doesn't actually get used. So a lot of reasons to buy an Aerostar, and I'm glad that this one's hanging out in Finland, and I hope that some car enthusiasts out there, because I think Finland does have a pretty cool car scene. I think there's a lot of car people over in Finland. So if you are in Finland and maybe you want to scoop this up and you can be the only person on the block with the Ford Aerostar, you can get 2 for 1. You can have the four-wheel drive version, which is the very sought after version, and you could have something really cool on your hands. You might as well buy both of them and have a parts car. These bumpers are extremely hard to find. So go out there, some, you know, young Finnish youth, you're a car guy or gal or person generally, and you want to get into something unique and cool. How about a Ford Aerostar? There you have it. That's my pitch. So, yeah, thanks for watching here as we continue our little foreign residency on the mighty Ford Aerostar. It's been a great week of Aerostardom for me. I got to drive my 93 Aerostar around as like sort of a daily driver, work vehicle, actually use it to haul stuff around and do work, which I always love doing. And saw an Aerostar in the wild. So very good week in the Aerostar universe for me. I hope it has been out there for you as well. We will have another episode for you very soon. This is Year of the Aerostar here on Janky AF. And until next time, Janky do thanky.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.